well, thank you for coming to one of Gilded's last events. We have another one that's coming up, and we'll tell you more about it in between the two presentations. So, sorry, let me just wait for Angie to come back, and she's going to click through the presentation. Okay, and again, I want to thank you for helping us throughout the 8 years that Gilded's been going. We had something really big plans the spring of 2020, and we couldn't launch because of Gilded. So we just kind of muddled through. Still, had some great achievements, but financially we weren't able to hang on. So I'm in substitute TT, and I'm looking for nonprofit marketing jobs, still in the nonprofit world. And so let me tell you about, let me have Whoopi tell you about our two presenters. So.
Can't hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Hi, thank you all for being here. As Susanna said, my name is Wolf Brack. Can you all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I am the artistic director here at the Interurban Art House. We're happy to host one of Gilded's last events. Our first presenter is Enrique Chi. Enrique is... Oh, here, I'll turn this upside down. Our first presenter is not Enrique Chi. It's Clarissa Knighten. Clarissa is a jeweler, sculptor, and artist. She has a studio here. She's had her work featured in the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art on multiple runways and at different regional fashion weeks, including Kansas City Fashion Week. Your work is permanently on display at the Kansas City Museum and a whole bunch of other things besides. Everyone, please welcome Clarissa Knighten.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, a little bit about myself. I have been designing jewelry for 17 years and coming out of the corporate world of 19 years. Susanna, I don't know how she found me, but she reached out to me in February of 2018. I had just left my job of 19 years in August of 17. So the first opportunity that I ever had to speak publicly about my work was with Gilded at the Kemper Museum. And now I think it's crazy that part of your last series, I'm a part of that. So I want to say thank you, and thank you to Gilded, because of Gilded, there was someone in the audience that saw my presentation and we met, and that was also because of Gilded was my first opportunity to be on TV, which was Channel 41 that same year. So a lot of things happened in my life because I had the opportunity to come and speak to a group of artists and network with artists. And it's so important that we do that. My journey with jewelry started because I battled with clinical depression. And I needed it to survive. My doctors wanted me to find something to do with my hands. And jewelry is what actually came out. Most don't know this. I am a charcoal artist as well, but I never show my charcoal. My charcoal is only used for my personal benefit, for my own therapy, and that's probably something that the art house members are hearing for the first time, is that I sketch at home. I don't ever bring that out because that is my own personal balance for me. And you're going to see in this presentation that I have to have the balance. So, okay, now I will get out of my somber voice. My greater purpose. As Wolf said, I am a creative wearable art artist. Again, because I'm full-time now, I have the opportunity to do things that I would have never done. I have the opportunity to try things. In corporate America, you have your full, at that time, 10 to 12 hour days, and then I'm doing jewelry on the side. Now, I'm totally dedicated, and the art house will tell you that I am here every single day, except Sundays. So I'm here 6 days a week. And Mondays, as my assistant Jackson will tell you, Mondays are my long days. I'm here probably from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 14 hours, and it's just getting ideas out. So my creative wearable art is everywhere. I use organic materials, tree branches, wood, seashells. You can read there what I use, but I want to talk about the images there. The lady in the tan suit is Dr. Nicole Price. She had an opportunity to do a TEDx at Morehouse College earlier this year. And her theme was, what a pimp taught me about empathy. It is phenomenal. So if you go to YouTube, you can find it out there under Dr. Nicole Price. But she asked me to create her jewelry for this TEDx. Couldn't be over the top runway. It needed to be subdued and subtle to go with what she's doing. Well, this color that's in there, that aqua color, is actually an empathy color. And so she wore those pieces and commissioned me. I worked with a stylist from out of town. We're all from different places. And she came to the studio, hung out, we picked something out. That was a collaboration between her and I. And then the bottom picture is just me shaving tree branches. And again, Jackson knows all about shaving tree branches. I did the ceiling piece for the Kansas City Museum, and that is 17 feet by 5 feet of tree branches and pearls and foils. So if you haven't gone by there to support them to see that, it is a permanent installation, so you can see it anytime. The next slide is, as a full-time artist, you have an opportunity to play and explore and do some things different. In October of last year, the Art House hosted a fundraiser, 6x6. I had never done anything with 6x6. It was fantastic. I was inspired. Now I have 4 pieces along with, I believe, 15 other ladies down at the Box Gallery showing our work. These are 6x6s, but they're mounted in a 10x10 frame. Again, wall art, from wearable art to wall art. The middle piece is the empty building of the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas. They commissioned me, sight unseen, to do their ceiling piece that's right next to it of copper. I was in on that project from the ground level, which was a fantastic opportunity for me as well. The curator of that, putting the art together for that center, had never met me. He saw my work on someone in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Called me, we had a conversation, and they hired me to do this project. Never had done anything like this. The vertical piece, the horizontal piece in the Kansas City Museum, same type of scenario. She saw my work come down the runway at West 18th Street Fashion Show, called, and we met, and she presented this empty ceiling to me and said, this is what we want to do. So one of the things about my work is, what's really important to me is building relationships. So when you wear my work, my key is, if you don't want to talk, don't wear my work, because it's going to pull people to you. So use my work, wear my work, use it as a relationship builder for you. Mobility assistance, the necklace that I'm wearing today, you can pull it off with one hand. Designed because a client had a stroke, wanted to wear her jewelry, and could only use one side. So there, she has her jewelry back again. Youth mentorship, I've mentioned Jackson several times. I do like working with students in my studio. I don't like teaching, but you can come and work with me and you gain from me from that aspect. I've already talked about my depression, dealing with depression, so I won't mention that again. The keys for me is to respect my voice and balancing, have a mindset of balance. That's something that I'm constantly working on, constantly being aware of, is that I have to create balance within my life. I can work, and then in the bottom bullet, I won't eat, I won't love myself, and I won't sleep. So these are my reminders to myself that I have to eat. I even have a timer on my phone, an alarm on my phone that says, yum, 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 it's time to eat. And I have to do that because it's important to me. You might come to the art house and you see this crazy lady walking in the parking lot in circles because I have to get out and move because I will get sucked in and stay here. Knowing my client, I think every artist has to know their client, and every artist has to not be pulled into areas that they are not comfortable with. The next slide is my goals. So my goal is I want to really hone in on establishing a secondary brand. I'm working on that now. It's happening now, but I'm not forcing myself with that. I want a solo exhibition. So these are things I'm mentioning now. So if you know of somebody, know of an area, you want to help me out, you want to help me work through this, introduce me to someone, I want a solo exhibition of sculptural art and wall art combined together. I want to be that solo person. The art house gave me an opportunity with the library. That was my first run at it. Now I know exactly what I want to do. And I'm starting to build toward that now. YouTube channel, I have one. I don't use it, but I want to start working on that because that'll allow me to have another reach with an audience. Upgrading my packaging. Those of you that have ever seen my packaging, you already know what it's like. And it's actually great. It's pretty fabulous, I have to say. And then just to increase my website traffic. Lastly, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here. This beautiful piece was from the Omaha Fashion Week. And this model is actually carrying her hand deer antlers. I did an entire series of deer antlers and nature. That's it. That's all I've got for you. Any questions?
What is the secondary brand you're talking?
The secondary brand is actually my wall art. So because I do jewelry, wearable art, I have clients that love my work, but would never wear it. So I've started creating a way that they can actually have my designs, and my designs being recognizable, but it's in wall art form. Yes, sir.
One of my friends is a chef, and he has a successful burger joint that gives him the freedom, gives the freedom for a really unique and interesting other restaurant. Is there a part of your art that could be systematized and kind of be able to create more revenue to give you a little bit more of that space? If that makes sense, like something like replicatable that helps fund your more creative and adventurous pursuits.
So I've been thinking about what I can replicate or someone else can do for me. And Jackson and I are kind of working on that right now. Something that's an easy, low cost. But I'm trying to figure out so I want to keep ownership of it. So that's where my struggle is right now. Is I still want to own the rights to it. I don't want to give it away or have somebody else do it and recreate it and they're not signing an NDA on it. So I can talk to you offline about that. Thank you so much.
What was your process that you came up with your reminder list? I mean, did you slowly realize you needed to change some things, or did you sit down, say, 10 minutes a day and work on it, or what was your process to come up with that? So I find that really interesting.
The question was, what was my process to find out what my reminders are? So I have a couple things. I have people in my life that I've given the permission to call me out. And they say, Clarissa, you're not sleeping. Or they'll call and say, did you eat today? So I've given others permission, and when they make note of, if they say things, I write them down. And I might not always agree, but I start evaluating it, and then it starts to go on my list. And knowing my customer would be the same thing. So people bring me things to commission, because we get that a lot as artists. Commission this, and you struggle, and it takes you out of your own zone. And I had to learn to say, it's okay, they're not my client. Someone else will do this for you.
I've got a question. So you touched briefly on being a full-time artist as opposed to having a full job and doing the art when you can. You also said that being a full-time artist allows you to play in certain ways. And I wonder, as you were making that transition, or you made the decision to jump into art full-time, because this is, and I'm sure other artists feel this too, because I feel it, knowing that, or trying to remind yourself that when you do jump in full-time, you'll have more time to play, and maybe that'll help you balance out, some of the deficits that you'll be taking on because you're leaving steady work. Did you find that, and how did you work your way through that?
So the first couple of years, again, I've been doing this for 7 years full time. The first couple of years was solely, everything was, I had to create it to sell it, created to sell it. And it's just been the last 2 years that I've transitioned to allowing myself a place to play, that I create for me. If people come in my studio and they love it, fantastic. But I create for me, and that gives me the opportunity to play. The other thing that helped me with that too is realizing that a lot of people want to help me. Let them help me. They want to come over and hang out and just talk. I give them some beats to string. So finding that if you're an artist that has something that they could lay a layer of gesso down for you, you teach them how to do that, it would be okay. That's how I found it. What my balance was, allowing people in, allowing people to call me out when I wasn't resting, and then actually saying, no, I'm not gonna work today. I'm just gonna go and explore, and in exploring, you're inspired. Hope that answered your question.
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you go back to your goals slide?
Sure.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
This is just an idea I want to share with you on the jewelry people know that. I like my necklaces, I buy new necklaces. This is Rissa, so already certified. Like that, I have a collection of them, and when I go wear them, I actually hang them on the wall.
Yes.
So I have frames, like it's a display off in my room, and I know that, okay, today's the event, I take them off and wear them, and put it back on the wall. So I think we can probably do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have clients that I have recommended that to, was to hang it on the wall and show it that way. And that's what I do. But what I want to do in addition to that is, if you go in my studio on the top right side, there's a shadow box. And when you take that necklace off, it is a wearable art piece. But when you take it off, it actually has tree branches in it too. So there's a little extra to that. But yes, they do that. They also hang it on lamps, and they use vases and all kinds of things. I'm gonna go with the lady in the orange there, or yellow.
I was just gonna say, I was at the Peace Museum Sunday, and the piece is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you sell this way, the shadow boxes?
I do. I do. That's something new that I started just this year, is selling those.
That seems like something that could be replicated.
You're right. You're right,
Let's go.
absolutely, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
This is a compliment. Over the years that you've been working here and the number of roles that you play, not just in your life, but in the community and then in the retail world, it's remarkable for somebody that is very open about their mental health to be such a good example of persistence and acceptance of the shifts in mental health, but the constant creation and the support that you give to other people, your ability to manage very diverse parts of your life and earn your living. You're very tough and you're very vulnerable, and I think you're an excellent teacher, and we've been really lucky to have you.
Thank you. What she's referring to in the teaching aspect is Angie has allowed, Angie's the executive director here, has allowed me to facilitate the work of art class. We started in 2020, and I've done it every year since then. I'm still growing, I'm still learning. As Brittany will say, that there's chapters that are a struggle. Brittany's the other facilitator. But I enjoy that, and it pushes me out of my comfort zone to do that, so I appreciate it.
What are your plans to increase website traffic?
My plans to increase the website traffic is I'm no longer running my Instagram, my social media. I have someone else running it for me. I have a young person running it for me. He will be running it, and that's Jackson. Say hi, Jackson.
Yay,
Jackson! Jackson started with me in January, and he's getting ready to go off to Northwestern Colorado to school. So we worked on an agreement that he will continue to manage my social media. So I'm hoping that that will help increase traffic. But honestly, I'm saying increase traffic, but it's really not. It's visibility. It's just being visible, just being active and showing up. And those things that are meant for you are going to come to you.
You know, you have such interesting pieces, and you're a unique artist in Kansas City. You're a unique artist, period. Have you ever looked at Kansas City Public Television doing those little script on you? Because I would take one of your popular videos and social media pieces and just put the name of Kansas City Television, say, this is an idea for Black.
Somebody write that down for me.
I'll text you.
I will check into that. I will check into that.
I think there was one more question behind Susanna.
I know when I saw you Saturday, and instantly I was drawn to the jury that we had. And when you said, oh, I made this, I was like, wow. So they have, it's called First, well, I think most people have heard of First Friday in certain places. When I like to go to those because I see a lot of artists that I've never seen before display a lot of their artwork. So I would love to see that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, we just met on Saturday, and I invited her today, and she brought some other ladies with her. So thank you for being here. Thank you. Yes, sir.
For someone that creates all the time, your creative battery doesn't have to be excellent, but how do you personally find inspiration? Where would you go? Who do you talk to? Like, what do you do in order to get that creative battery recharged?
To get it recharged, I do a lot of walking, and I look at nature a lot. I also watch other artists here at the Art House. There's open studio. If you're an artist member here, you can come on Mondays, look up the Art House, Mondays and Thursdays from 10 to 1. If you're a member, membership is only $10 or $100 a year. But I look at what they're doing, and it might be something that they're working on that I see inspired from. I could be at an event someplace and I like the color combination that someone has on. I'm pretty known in community for my color combinations that I put together, and the fact that my work stretches. I stretch myself. That's what Nicole was referring to a lot, and I don't realize that I'm doing it. It just happens. So I'm just inspired by different things that I see everywhere. I'm inspired by something that someone might say, or it's all over the place. I'm sorry I can't answer that 100%, but it's everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see something, and I have so many ideas running through my head right now. I just have to figure out how to get them all out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And this was, it's wonderful to hear how Clarissa's branching out. And Clarissa's such a wonderful artist, such a wonderful person. And I encourage you too, if you want to see more of her art, she has a studio over here in this hallway, and you're welcome to see her work after the event. And also, she's pretty regularly here on the third Fridays in the Urban Art House for the openings. That usually they're from 5 to 7? 8. 5 to 8. So right here in Overland Park. So I recommend that you see beautiful art like this. You see new exhibits every 2 months, and they have some wonderful things and really embrace the community. So I also wanted to thank them for hosting me today. They're a wonderful organization, local organization to work with. I automatically thought of this space. It's welcome Gilded Events for a couple of years, and I'm glad they're soaring, and I'm glad 2 artists like Clarissa and Enrique also they allow those artists to soar. And so, and one other thing, I want to thank also the Francis Family Foundation for their help. They were one of our biggest supporters and helped us all throughout the years, and we appreciate that. All right, so I want to tell you too, we do have one more event coming up. We don't have a date yet. There's another local nonprofit, art nonprofit that we're going to sponsor. It's called Theater Lab, and part of the Kansas City Theater. And so it's KC Public Theater. And so what they do is they have a local screenwriter develop a script, and it's a testing place for their script. So it's a very popular event. We hope to even make it more popular with our audience and help support it, food again and such. And I'll send out an announcement by email. I'll post on my website. It's just right now they're decided on the scripts and when they will be throughout the season. So it might be at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. But we look forward to, that's another wonderful local nonprofit, art nonprofit you want to support. All right. Now I'll let Lafite talk to a little bit about Enrique and tell you more about what he does. And I think his last 72 hours has been incredible. So, and we're very thankful to have him with us today. So.
Hey, I'm back. This time, our presenter is Enrique Chi. Enrique is the founder of the international band Making Movies and the nonprofit Artist Mentorship. The Latin Grammy-nominated Making Movies has twice reached the top 10 of Billboard's Latin pop charts. And his nonprofit Artist Mentorship empowers youth to raise their voices. Everyone, please welcome Enrique Chi.
Good afternoon, you all. All right. So yeah, I'm a musician first and foremost, and I guess speaking of the last 72 hours, more like the last 10 days. The band Making Movies was on tour in Canada. I'm wearing my Calgary Folk Festival shirt. We played a handful of festivals over there. It was great. And then in We played Calgary Folk Festival on Friday, and then at 6 a.m. got on a plane and prayed for no delays to get to Kansas City for our own festival, which is what I'll be speaking mostly about today. The band, over a decade ago, we started a music camp in the historic Northeast. The music camp evolved into this program that merges like the mental health outcomes that come organically out of the creative process of making your own song, but intentionally creates those outcomes. A lot of that was because of the work of another person who offices here, Sherry Jacobs, brilliant mind, who helped us tie up that curriculum. That music camp kept growing, and then we had the opportunity to put together concerts, and we had the idea about 10 years ago to start a mini festival. And that idea has grown into what is now Celebrate Americana, which happened on Saturday. So if we want to hit the next slide, but there's a photo of us doing the NPR Tiny Desk concert like 9 years ago.
You got a clicker there.
Oh, I got a clicker. Amazing. Point at the computer.
No, just click. You got the power. Is it working?
Yeah. All right. Can I hit this video? This is last year's festival recap, and it shows a little bit of the music. Though this year the festival was considerably bigger, probably 50% bigger in both infrastructure, attendance, and budget. Still gives us a little feedback. We just don't have our recap video yet since the event was just on Saturday. That's all right. It could be audio. All you have to do it. The song that's on there is mine. It's really good.
Oh, wow.
Let's turn up on my computer.
Grammy-winning artist, Tex Maniacs, and they have albums from Photo Collage. That's a Rebel Song Academy student sitting there. So this festival is kind of where the two worlds collide. It gives the opportunity for young artists who are part of the Rebel Song Academy program to perform at a real event, to perform alongside Grammy-winning artists, internationally touring artists. And as they do so, there's something that we found, like pretty much all of this was built out of need, like invention out of necessity. There weren't youth music programs in the inner city that had anything, for lack of a better term, cool going on with them. Mm-hmm. Everything was a little stale and boring, or really just tiny that we weren't even aware of. And there weren't festivals that would book a band like ours, Making Movies being the vehicle for me to communicate this multicultural identity that I have. The local festival circuit, which is small in and of itself, but we were too outside of that, so we often had to build our own way. I personally hate having to think about things in demographics by race and ethnicity. I think it's this weird United States phenomenon that we are obsessed with, probably as an antidote to all the racism, but because of funders, we quantify it, and just to show that we created an event that we were curating things that reflected what the community looked like that we were serving. So, sometimes when you're a young person, if you don't see something on stage that looks like you, then you don't really imagine that you could do something like that. And that was pretty clear for us over a decade ago. So we do make important to curate in a way that reflects the community. And all those numbers are up about 15%. That's last year's figures. The city gave us a proclamation signed by the mayor. When I saw the mayor, I told him, please stop ignoring my emails and calls. But a proclamation and a nice piece of paper and a pat on the back is nice, but there's no budget from the city. Many other creators like me can go to their city and say, hey, I have this idea. It's going to impact thousands of people, and the city will unlock six-figure budgets to make something like that happen. Not this city yet. So that's both a success and a pain point. This year, our festival was part of a national collaboration with a World Health Organization funded initiative called Arts for Everybody, or One Nation, One Project. 18 sites activated on Saturday, including the National Mall. They did give us a six-figure investment into the organization to be able to get it to the place that it was. They allowed us to bring, they did many things. They brought their leaders to Kansas City, so I could go and talk to foundations and city members and give that national weight. They also brought Obama's photographer scout, amazing journalist. That's it. So the easiest way to say her resume is very real is that she did both Obama campaigns and the coffee table book for the Obamas, and the most Instagram photo of all time. She has a credit of having taken it. Of Barack hugging Michelle. And she came to Kansas City, and what I did is I put her through a gauntlet to document, take photos of every person that's helped us, including Angie and Nicole. And that was amazing. So this year, we did get some national investment, and then we're gonna have real research connecting how arts participation is a vehicle for public health and public wellness. The data is now emerging that participating in an arts activity once a week it doesn't have to be physical, like it can be painting, is as good for your physical health as participating in fitness once a week. The data is starting to emerge. This initiative is trying to push funding and corporate responsibility to start being aware of that. So it's an all boats rise kind of concept. We are grateful to be part of it, and we create a data set for the national push to say, hey, look, it's real. Which we already know. U.S. Surgeon General affirms that. And that all intersects with the work that we did with Sherry with this Rebel Song Academy. The Rebel Song Academy, we also started to create a data set ourselves in our own organic and DIY kind of way. I call it punk rock research because it wouldn't make it to a scientific journal, but we EEG scanned 5 young people's brains before the Rebel Song Academy and after, looking for markers for anxiety, depression. One of them is the theta waves. It's kind of like the electrical output your brain makes when you are in a high alert mode. Totally healthy if you're in a higher alert environment. Kind of a sign that something unhealthy mentally is going on if you're trying to rest, and theta just keeps happening. Kind of a sign that there may be PTSD or anxiety. The brain on top is, oh, the animation's not working. Well, if on the animation it's hard to see it maybe. The animation you see a lot more, so it's like 68% normalization for this young person. The animation portion is not working where you can see the red on the top right and the more green on the bottom right, that over a 12-week program. So it's not only individual health and youth participating in something like this, then they get to participate in a community event that creates community wellness. And that's a big factor in the narrative of how to make something like this sustainable. It's a free concert. And when I look at like one of the goals is 6-figure local investment. The Missouri Arts Council patted us right on the back and said, you all are amazing, here's $3,000. The event costs $180,000, right? Mrs. Kaufman, you all are incredible, here's $12,000 for everything you do all year. Arts KC, $4,500, you know, same kind of thing, right? So like, if you're trying to pull from the buckets of arts funding and you're not tapping into a bigger tent idea like community wellness, it can be very hard to fundraise for something like this. And we want to keep it free for the community. So goal is establish a freemium model. We did sell 50 VIP tickets at $100. So that's people that like just wanted to believe in this and support us. Well, I gotta make more layers to that, like a sustaining member model. We have a little trickle of resources that come in from $10 a month, $25 a month to sustaining revenue. Maybe we can expand that base. We'll kind of create a thing where like, look, if you don't have any money, come to the festival. But if you're in a position where you can chip in $50 because we're putting on a $200,000 event for free for the community, please chip in those $50. I don't have that all figured out, but I know we need to. 6-figure local investment. We've gotten 6 figures from Airbnb through a musician friend of ours who had their song was being licensed to Airbnb. With that first investment 2 years ago allowed us to build the recording studio that we'll see back here where the kids come and record on their field trips. And the other investment, 6-figure, was from the Arts for Everybody National Initiative. Locally, no one's come close. And the biggest investor locally is the Kemper Family Foundation. Grateful for their support. And grateful for all the other foundations' support. They are supporting us. But we are ready for a much bigger investment into this work. And I need to figure out how to position ourselves to receive that support. And perhaps it's also just navigating the patience necessary for these foundations to awaken to the reality of the caliber and impact of the work we're doing. And then lastly is sustainable staffing structure. The two folks that made the festival possible while running around in Canada, they're not really salaried staff yet. They're like part-time workers. They're amazing young people, really amazing, talented young people. You cannot keep them if you're only paying $25 an hour for very long. You can't keep them for very long. right? So like, how do I raise enough money where I can pay really talented people what it really costs to live in the United States at this juncture to do this work? This work is really hard. Any of the work that organizations like this do, I feel it should be as well paid or better paid in the corporate sector. It should not be like, oh, this is art, therefore it's paid less. I think that's BS. Okay, the challenges. I think I might have to become too big to fail. I think I might have to raise, the organization operates off of like a $500,000 budget. I think I probably got to break into $1 million budget. Whether that serves a need or not, I kind of have to be big enough that the foundations will say, oh God, okay, this is actually economically an impact if you go away. The festival might need to live long enough to have had impact on too many thousands of people that if somebody turns their back on us, too many people will complain, therefore I'll have leverage. Stigma around our community. If I get on an airplane and I run into somebody that's from Kansas City, the neighborhood itself has stigma, and there's not awareness of it. If I say I live in the historic Northeast, the chances are maybe 3 out of 10 people know where that is, right? You've been to the Kansas City Museum, but a lot of folks don't even know that neighborhood. And if they do know of it, they kind of put it in the bucket of east side of Kansas City, places you don't go. And that's still a thing. On top of that, I'm an immigrant, artist, entrepreneur. So when I'm talking to funders saying, I need $1 million, they're like, but you're an artist. You don't know how to manage this. And that's a stigma. Oh, you're an immigrant artist. Layer upon top of layer. And you're loud about the injustice of the world. Even more of a reason. Yeah, exactly. Then learning how to partner with health organizations. This year, we had a great benefit. We partnered with Samuel Rogers, and they gave us some sizable sponsorship for the event. And they are, because of One Nation One Project, they inspired this idea, like you can partner with, as an artist, you can partner with community health centers. They have access to bigger pockets. And they told us in our meetings that we've been kind of waiting for you because there's these big chunks of grants that are about collaboration. And we didn't even know who to talk to, so we just ignore them and don't even go for it. So there's these deeper pockets. I think that's one of the ways to overcome some of the hurdles that I've been describing. All right, those are goals, challenges, and I think that's the end of my, here's some folks who have supported us, and including Angie and Nicole, like pro tip, if you want me to do something, have Angie or Nicole ask me, and I'll pretty much say yes. So, which is why I'm here today.
Okay.
All right.
Have you approached Health Care Foundation?
Health Care Foundation or Health Forward?
Health Forward.
I have and was denied.
How'd that go?
Yeah, we were denied for some reason.
Is that right?
Yeah. At the point where we were denied, we still have a nice relationship. I just responded to emails to the folks that couldn't make it, but said that they saw the festival was amazing. And we met with them when I had the folks from the National Initiative. We went to their office and spoke with them about what we're doing. But the answer I got was a little paradoxical. It said, we are restructuring our whole organization to fund diverse causes.
Right.
While we are restructuring, we are only funding our legacy partners.
They're still saying that?
Well, that's what they said 4 months ago. So, I'm going to take another swing, and patience is probably key.
Yeah. I think repetition and cultivating the relationship and proving you're showing up over and over again makes you undeniably important and to your word. And I'm sorry, should I raise my hand to get called?
No.
I think it is.
Okay, no. So I also think that what you're describing is putting arts, performance arts, visual arts back into its ancient righteous place.
That's right.
And I think that the separation of artists as some sort of other thing is a completely invented idea. And now that they're realizing how important music is to learning math or recovering from stroke or PTSD or whatever, that they are coming to us saying, oh, well, we need you. And people like you, or maybe me, who are loud, say, we've been here all along, we belong here. We have things we need to tell you that our people are in need of, like proper pay and being in the schools and looking like our neighborhoods and all that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, thank you. I agree with that.
I noticed that you applied for NTDF.
Yeah.
Were you aware that there was another cycle that recently opened?
Yeah, I'm aware. NTDF did support us this year and grew their support, so no complaints with the work NTDF.
So you know they opened a cycle on July the 22nd?
July 22nd.
They just opened up another cycle for money that they
They
didn't
have
need.
money that they can't spend. They have a lot, they have more money.
Who's this?
NTDF, okay, no, I did not know.
NTDF.
Thank you. I did not know that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have to say that both artists that spoke today are uncanny with organization and data gathering. I have never met two artists ever that have been this detailed about what they do in their work and be as prolific and new with what they do in their art world. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
One of the things that I would say is with the advent of art being integrated into programs like STEM, any of these organizations that heavily pour their funding into before the year's end into STEM, I would absolutely hit them up. It would be an unorthodox way of seeing what they would have to offer, but with art being integrated, I mean, attack it at all angles, I think. So I would try that for sure.
That's great. That's a great point. We're talking to Blue Valley School District, and I think that would be kind of the lens by which we enter. The Rebel Song Academy right now is in, I think, actively 7 different school partnerships, and by the end of the year we will have done about 11 or 12 within a calendar year. And we're learning those systems too. And each system is unique. That's what's interesting. A charter school versus a district versus so it's a lot of learning, but there are ways in.
Okay, I have some ideas. So RSPC does have a list of just help organizations that sponsor art. So you might want to visit their website and see that list. Also, the marketing person, she does these wonderful presentations. She serves South America, and I sat down with her time ago, and she's very inspirational. She's very put together. So I think you might benefit from meeting with her. I'll do that introduction. Also, Art and Loop. Have you heard of Art and Loop?
Yeah.
So they work actually with the Downtown Business Council, and their Downtown Business Council sponsors their art, and they get the city to sponsor their art. So I would recommend working, if you're trying to get that city, which has just alone wonderful promotions, if you're trying to get them to support you in any way, I would connect with a larger group, chambers or such, and then come up through that way to the city. Because a lot of people are screaming at the mayor. So, but there's a few people that have this ear because they have organizations that have worked with the city for a long time. So, I would recommend getting with the Art and Loop. I knew 2 people with Google, and they're big sponsors of art, and you have an international reputation. Health issues that you address, I think, are solid. As well, and then there's a grant writer who does, she encourages matching funds. So when you have a local funder, she goes out and finds someone at the state or in another state, because there are foundations who just want to support the local art scene or the local art, or I should say the local organizations. But then there's these foundations by these rural families or more remote cities who want to promote out of state purposely.
Oh, that's great.
And so she goes to those, she finds a list of those that are within your area. And she's worked with, I forget the name of she's worked with 2 nonprofits, Start 9KC, who does entrepreneurism. So she'd be right up your alley. And then she also works with, and I forget the name of the organization, housed out of the nonprofit village, which I'm part of. And they also do, but they do music lessons for, what?
Harmony Project or Basic Academy Music?
Yeah,
Basic.
Basic Academy.
Yeah.
So she's the grant writer for them too. And
Okay.
she's really helped them grow as well. And one thing too, if you get for someone like a chamber, they provide the office, so if you have, you probably don't want to be in the office, but if you have someone who wants
We have a co-working space. It's kind of like our office, but also a programming space.
but they provide it and they pay for the staff. So she's also, Art and Loop person is on their staff. And that becomes a position you don't have to worry about, that's off your budget.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Great ideas. The other thought too is, and I don't think we've interfaced with an urban in our makers fair, and we did it organically, but like we should have more artists from this space showing at the festival would be nice. Another thought I had when I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, why didn't we do more? Erica, Chico's partner, curates the makers fair. So it happens organically, but we could be more intentional.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you were trying to get to Mayor Lucas. Are you doing anything with the mayor of Woodland Park or any of the other communities in the Kansas side?
No, not specifically because our event is on the Missouri side.
Strictly as Missouri.
The event is, but our programming is not.
Right.
So we have programs on the Kansas side and the Missouri side. So I'd be open to any conversation that could become fruitful.
I'm just curious because I said that and I thought, well, there's other mayors around who might be willing.
Might be more interested.
To provide something.
Yeah. And that's one thing too, like the concept Celebrate Americana, misspelling the word Americana to kind of trip you into like, wait, what is American arts and culture? Maybe it should be a more wide spectrum. It's been not so inclusive. We sold it to UCSD, and so in August there's a festival in San Diego under our brand, paid for by UCSD. So part of the strategy could also be accepting that Kansas City, Missouri proper won't wake up to the beauty of what we're doing, and then we just create a proof point and then sell it to some other city.
The city advocacy piece, I think that some artists can present to the city. You have to sort of be there when they're making decisions.
Okay.
So for example, the farmer's market is getting a $32 million upgrade and they're planning the budget right now. I said, why aren't we at the table? Because if you're gonna be creating objects, shouldn't part of the budget be assigned to local artists to make those artists? And so what you were saying is to have an alliance with people in the city, so you're aware when something comes up, when they're planning a budget, to impinge on developers who take advantage of the fact that we're here, to impinge upon them to be supportive, because we are an economic development piece, so.
I love that. Yeah, that's not work I've leaned that much into, but need to start.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Did your festival evolve from the classes that you initiated, and is that kind of the climax for those students that you have?
It is the climax for the students, and yes, that's exactly how it evolved. I mean, all this work evolved very organically. So 5 years before there was a nonprofit, we would do a 1-week summer camp and then some kind of satellite classes, and then we would curate a festival at Knuckleheads to pay for the 1-week music camp, and it was just this little baby project that over 5 years, when folks kept wanting to do more, I realized I had to kind of create an organization. So that is what happens. The structure keeps solidifying. So as it gets more sturdy, the Rebel Song Academy, we've learned we can integrate it and partner with schools. And so there's Rebel Song Academies at schools, and that's like an entry point for the funnel to eventually enter a fellowship. The kids in the fellowship are with us for a whole year, not a semester. And they get extra workforce development opportunities, like we're partnering with Arvis Bank to get them a banking product, like a bank account, and a little budgeting 101, banking 101, things that artists need. And it's great to plant that seed at 16 years old, not 26, when you're having problems paying rent, et cetera. So there's like the wider funnel, hopefully in the future, not 12 schools, but 22 or 30 schools in the metro area with Rebel Song Academies, inputting towards the inner funnel. And the festival is a space where the inner funnel young artists get a real chance on a big stage with a big audience, and it becomes the capstone event of their year.
And that was just this past weekend?
That was Saturday.
So how do you, this was news to me, and I kind of follow what's going on in the community, and I had not seen it anywhere. I'm curious how you publicize the event,
Our world is so fragmented. But I would give you a short list. Partnership with KKFI, advertising with 90.9 The Bridge, interviewing 90.9 The Bridge. Had like new cover of the Spanish newspaper Dos Mundos, the top of the Kansas City Star, like weekend. report of events. We also did aggressive, spent a few $1,000s marketing on social media, influencer posts. There was one TV station that did something, Fox, I think 4 did something, came out early the day of to document. And so we tried, but our world is just so fragmented.
Yeah.
So I actually have these little cards that have a phone number, they have a QR code we can sign up for our email list and a phone number, sign up for our text list. Because sometimes the fastest way is this text app where I can shoot a note and say, the show's in a week. We'll see you there. People respond and send song requests and that kind of thing. So that's for my band. But if you're interested, please take one. But yeah, we did our best, but perhaps we didn't hit the spots where you look for stuff.
And where's the location of it?
It's in Concourse Park, about a block from the Kansas City Museum in the historic Northeast where the fountains are and stuff. And that location is important. We started our music camp there a decade or 12 years ago. And that neighborhood, because of refugee resettlement and a bunch of other factors, it speaks 115 languages, which I think is significant nationally. To be a Midwestern city with a neighborhood that dense of international diversity.
I've got a question for you just asked. Ma'am. Yeah, okay. Her ears are when you ask, you say you follow these things in the community, where do you?
Great question.
Yeah, where do you? What do you look at? And then Enrique, have you asked?
Well,
I think we're always trying to figure that out. Like, where are people looking?
Okay, I get the Bridges emails.
Okay. Maybe we didn't do an email blast with them. Because we did a pitch. I guess all the marketing layers come back. We did a pitch email blast and a paid post from the pitch, so we paid to participate. In that, I don't know if we asked for a bridge email blast, but I'll make a note to see.
Well, what you mentioned, that was the one that I do receive that, but, the early bird, the Johnson County Post, that list like events, so some social media, but it's kind of Arts Alive, like their stuff.
And
I
I
did
did that.
receive the pitch, and I must have missed it in the pitch, because I do read the pitch pretty regularly, but I must have missed that in there.
Marketing test person.
Yeah, we do.
But I'm not great at social media unless I'm following them, so,
Right.
that's, I'm being 75 years old, kind of, it's one of those things I'm not.
You're 75 years old, is that what you said?
Not so much, paying attention to a lot of social media, although I follow my family on Facebook, but that's about it.
You should just keep it like that. It's not that cool. You're doing great.
I'm pretty good at it,
Yeah.
and keeping it like that, I don't do a lot of posts, but, and I am aware of you, because of, I follow through Kansas City Rep. You did something like a Zoom with them during the pandemic, and you were featured in, I can't remember the name of the gal from the rep that featured you, and so I was aware of your band, but I was not at all aware of what you're doing, which is super.
Thank you.
There's a program in Kansas City, Kansas District's public school district that's called Sprout Strings. Are you familiar with it? They teach
By name only, but yeah.
Yeah, they do violin, starting with their preschool program all the way through 12 years of age, through grade school years. And the kids are provided their violins, and they have full-time people are working there, but also then, I don't know if the instructors are paid or not, but that's a program funded through a school district that might be something to maybe replicate or look into how it's funded.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have time for one more question.
Real quick, do you think Arts KC has a press release list or a channel by which if
They
you
do.
provide a press release, they blast it?
Oh, that specifically, no, but that would be good. They have like Arts KC Goes, like their platform for events.
But don't you have to go there to know?
You have to go to that, you have to go to that site.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a media list, all the TVs, all the radios, that a blast goes out from Arts KC.
Fringe does.
Fringe does?
Yeah, they have a really good one.
Yeah.
Because they give it to all their artists every year.
Or like on a regional basis, if
Yeah.
somebody could keep that updated so that folks could say, oh, here's my press release, and then it goes out and it's updated.
And then Nonprofit Connect will actually put press releases on their website. So just another way to get it out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one of my big takeaways is that I probably did not market nearly enough on this side of the Kansas City border. Like I was kind of hyper focused on, the Missouri side based on the location of the event, but that was maybe an oversight. Like we could reach out to these newspapers over here. Likely they would be open to the story, I would guess.
50% of the people that consume art in KCMO live here.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it on KCUR, Steve Kraske.
Oh, that's right, I did
He
Steve
interviewed the
Kraske.
Salvation Choir.
Oh, yeah.
And they just kind of mentioned it briefly, but that's the only way, that's the only place I heard about it.
I did Up to Date, I think. Oh, I did an Up to Date interview as well last week.
Yeah, he's scary.
Downtown library, we had an event for 200 at the downtown library, and plus they're, so you can do a talk with them, and they'll expand this presentation at 45-minute talk. Usually they don't do Q&A, but their plaza seats 500, so, yeah.
That'd be good, yeah. All right. Well, thank you all, thank you for having me.
Well, Kansas City is a wonderful community, and in Urban Art House also, we're blessed to have it here too, because they also help artists with their business, and we really want to support that. Really do promote the artists you see today, and talk about it with your friends. Also, we'll send out, again, look for our website for our last event announcement, and I love to be in the art world and I love being in this place. So I'm looking for a marketing job, hopefully within our nonprofit, I've worked with Hallmark and such as well. So anyway, thank you very much for coming, for being part of this community, for helping our arts grow in this community, and we look forward to seeing you at other art events in the future.